Story 1. The Haunting Highway. In the dead of night, a thick shroud of fog hung over the deserted highway. Jake, a weary trucker, had been on the road for hours, making the monotonous journey from one side of the country to the other. He had heard rumors about this stretch of road, whispers of strange happenings and unsettling tales, but dismissed them as mere superstitions. As the miles passed beneath his wheels, his skepticism began to wane. The highway seemed to stretch endlessly into the darkness, the only companions being the faint hum of his engine and the eerie glow of his headlights slicing through the fog. The rhythmic sound of tires on asphalt was almost hypnotic, lulling him into a trance-like state. It was then that he heard it, a voice in the static of his radio. "Turn back, Jake," it whispered, the words coming through with an otherworldly clarity. Jake's heart raced as he glanced at the dashboard, but the radio was off. He shook his head, attributing it to exhaustion and paranoia. But as he drove on, the voice continued, growing more insistent with every mile. "Turn back, Jake." Before it's too late, with trembling hands, he fumbled with the radio's controls, finally managing to switch it off. His pulse quickened, his knuckles whitening as they gripped the steering wheel. The voice had seemed to come from nowhere, and the highway was as empty as ever. Moments later, a figure loomed in the distance. Panic surged through Jake's veins as he realized that there was someone in the middle of the road, their back to him. He slammed on the brakes, the screeching of tires echoing in the dense fog. The figure remained motionless. As the truck skidded to a halt, Jake's breath came in ragged gasps. He had narrowly avoided a catastrophic collision. He climbed out of the cab and approached the person, fear and anger welling up inside him. "Hey, what the hell are you doing here?" he yelled. The figure slowly turned to face him. It was a woman, her pale, ghostly features barely visible through the fog. Her eyes were dark pools of sorrow, and her voice trembled as she spoke. "You should have turned back, Jake. How do you know my name?" he stammered. She didn't answer, instead extending a hand towards him. In her outstretched palm lay a locket. Jake recognized it instantly. It belonged to his mother, who had passed away years ago. His fingers trembled as he reached for it, the touch of the locket sending a shiver down his spine. With a mournful look in her eyes, the woman whispered, "I've been waiting for you, Jake." Before he could react, she dissolved into mist, vanishing before his eyes. He stumbled back, his heart pounding in his chest, the locket clutched tightly in his hand. Overwhelmed with fear, Jake climbed back into the truck, his mind a whirlwind of confusion. The voice in the radio, the apparition in the fog, and the locket all combined to create a sense of dread that gnawed at him. Ignoring his exhaustion, he decided to push on, desperate to escape the inexplicable horrors that seemed to haunt this desolate stretch of road. As he continued his journey, the fog seemed to thicken, enveloping the highway in an impenetrable wall of white. His headlights barely pierced the gloom, and the world outside became a spectral dreamscape. Shadows danced in the mist, and every sound, every creak of the truck, felt amplified and ominous. Then he heard the voice again, this time echoing from the darkness just beyond the reach of his headlights. "Jake, you should have listened." He slammed on the brakes, once more narrowly avoiding a collision with an unseen obstacle. His heart was in his throat as he strained to see what had caused him to stop. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he realized that he was not alone. Figures, dozens of them, were emerging from the fog. They were indistinct, shifting shapes, their eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. Frozen in terror, Jake watched as they closed in, surrounding his truck. The locket in his hand grew cold, and he clutched it tighter, hoping for some connection to his mother, to anything that could protect him. Desperation clawed at his chest, and he considered abandoning the truck and fleeing into the fog. But he knew it was futile. The figures were too close, and there was no escape. In the final moments of the nightmarish encounter, the locket suddenly grew warm, emitting a soft, comforting light. The figures recoiled, their eyes filled with pain, and they retreated into the fog, vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. Jake watched in awe as the fog gradually lifted, revealing the empty highway once more. The locket's light faded, and a sense of peace settled over him. He knew in that moment that his mother's spirit had protected him from the malevolent entities that haunted the highway. With trembling hands, he turned the truck around and drove back the way he had come, leaving behind the cursed road and the horrors that had tormented him. As he left the fog-shrouded highway, he glanced back one last time, knowing that he had escaped a fate worse than death. The haunting highway would forever be etched in his memory, a nightmarish journey that had tested his courage and ultimately led him to the supernatural truth, hidden in the mists of the unknown. Story 2. The Midnight Whispers. In the heart of a small, secluded town, nestled deep within a dense forest, a sinister legend was whispered among its residents. They spoke of a road that only appeared at midnight, a road that led to an eerie, forgotten part of the forest. Most were too afraid to mention it, for fear of awakening the darkness that lay dormant within the trees. It was a road they called the Midnight Whispers. One chilly October night, Sarah, a curious and adventurous young woman, arrived in the town to visit her elderly aunt Eliza, who had lived there her entire life. Over dinner, as the winds howled outside, Eliza leaned in, her eyes filled with trepidation, and whispered the tale of the Midnight Whispers. Legend had it that on the stroke of midnight, a road would materialize at the edge of town, seemingly carved from the very fabric of the forest itself. It was said to be paved with moonlight, shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Only the brave or the foolish dared to follow it into the unknown. Drawn by the lure of adventure, Sarah decided to investigate the legend herself. She set out late one night, her flashlight cutting through the inky darkness. When the clock struck midnight, she stood at the forest's edge, waiting. As if obeying an ancient command, a faint, ethereal path appeared before her. The midnight whispers beckoned her forward, and she couldn't resist. The leaves rustled in eerie harmony as Sarah ventured deeper into the haunted woods. The path was surreal, the forest whispering its secrets to her, but Sarah couldn't make out the words. Shadows danced on the periphery of her vision, and strange, ghostly shapes flitted through the trees. The wind whispered her name, and her pulse quickened. Hours passed, and Sarah felt the air grow colder, the forest growing more ominous. The whispering voices grew louder, their words forming phrases of long-forgotten tales and dire warnings. But still, she pressed on. Then, in a clearing, she saw it. A house, ancient and dilapidated, with an unsettling air of abandonment. It seemed to call out to her, and without knowing why, she approached it. The creaking of the front door, devoid of any hinges, sent a shiver down her spine. She stepped inside, her flashlight illuminating a room filled with cobwebs, shattered furniture, and decaying remnants of a life long past. In the corner, a mirror stood covered in a dusty sheet. As she uncovered it, her reflection revealed a horrific truth. The face that stared back at her was twisted, a grotesque mockery of her own. Panic set in as she realized she was not alone in the mirror. A grotesque figure lurked behind her, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. She stumbled back, her heart pounding. The figure from the mirror stepped out, its presence now tangible. It reached out with grotesque hands, and Sarah felt a chilling grip around her heart. As it tightened, her surroundings shifted, and she found herself in a surreal, shadowy realm. The midnight whispers had trapped her. Desperate to escape, Sarah's mind raced. She remembered her aunt's warning, that only one who had faced their darkest fears could return from this cursed place. The figure whispered nightmarish secrets in her ear, tormenting her with her deepest insecurities and regrets. With a surge of determination, she confronted the specter. "I am not defined by my fears," she declared, her voice echoing through the dark void. The grip on her heart loosened, and the figure recoiled. Sarah awoke on the forest path, the midnight whispers fading into the background. She had returned from the shadowy realm, her courage and self-acceptance having banished the malevolent presence. As dawn broke, she made her way back to her aunt's home, her heart filled with newfound wisdom and strength. She had survived the midnight whispers, a testament to her bravery and resilience. Sarah's visit to the enigmatic town had not only reunited her with her aunt, but also bestowed upon her a life-changing experience. The tale of the midnight whispers would live on, but it was a story that she would never forget, a reminder that even in the darkest of places, one could find the light within themselves. Story 3. The Haunting of Hollow Lake. In the heart of rural Kentucky, a place known as Hollow Lake held a secret that had plagued the small community for generations. The lake, once a place of serenity and beauty, was now said to be cursed. Those who lived nearby spoke of strange occurrences and a series of tragic accidents that had befallen anyone who ventured too close to its shores. This is the story of the haunting of Hollow Lake. Jenna, an investigative journalist with a fascination for the paranormal, had heard whispers of the lake's haunting for years. With a reputation for uncovering the truth, she decided to investigate the legends and separate fact from fiction. Jenna arrived in the close-knit town on a warm summer afternoon. Locals eyed her with suspicion, and it was evident that they were reluctant to discuss the dark history of Hollow Lake. Undeterred, she began her research, uncovering stories of fishermen who vanished without a trace, hikers who never returned, and the chilling tales of ghostly figures rising from the water on moonlit nights. The more she delved into the lake's history, the clearer it became that something sinister lurked beneath the surface. There were reports of eerie whispers on still nights, and witnesses claimed to have seen shadowy figures moving through the trees that surrounded the lake. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jenna prepared to spend her first night near Hollow Lake. Armed with cameras, voice recorders, and a deep sense of unease, she set up her campsite by the water's edge. The air grew cold, and a heavy fog rolled in, casting an eerie pall over the surroundings. Late into the night, she heard the unmistakable sound of soft whispers on the breeze. The voices were haunting, their words indecipherable. Fear coursed through her veins as she shone her flashlight into the thick fog, revealing a ghostly figure standing at the water's edge. The figure seemed to be a reflection of a young woman, dressed in a tattered gown, her eyes hollow and desolate. Jenna's heart pounded as she approached, compelled to uncover the truth. "Who are you?" Jenna asked, her voice trembling. The ghostly woman did not reply in words, but instead gestured toward the lake. Jenna followed her gaze and saw a series of luminous orbs rising from the water. They glowed with an otherworldly light, their eerie beauty both enchanting and terrifying. Suddenly, the orbs transformed into the apparitions of people, each one bearing a tragic expression. Jenna realized that they were the spirits of those who had met their demise at Hollow Lake. The figures spoke to her through their sorrowful gazes, telling tales of lost loves, dreams unfulfilled, and lives cut short. As the night wore on, Jenna felt an overwhelming sense of empathy and sadness for the lost souls. She knew that she had to uncover the truth and share their stories with the world. It was as if they were begging for their stories to be heard, for their pain to be acknowledged. Determined to help the restless spirits find peace, Jenna continued her investigation in the following days. She discovered that the lake had a history of unexplained drownings, dating back to a tragic incident decades ago, when a group of children had mysteriously disappeared while playing near the water's edge. Through extensive research and interviews with the town's older residents, Jenna unraveled the chilling truth behind Hollow Lake. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead was thin, where lost souls sought solace in the memories of their past lives. In the end, Jenna's article brought attention to the plight of Hollow Lake's restless spirits. It also led to the town acknowledging its dark history, erecting a memorial to honor the lives lost, and taking steps to ensure the safety of future generations. The haunting of Hollow Lake became a story of tragedy, redemption, and the enduring connection between the living and the dead. Jenna's investigation shed light on the horrors of the past and, in doing so, allowed the lost souls to finally find peace. Story 4. The Unearthly Symphony. In a sleepy, forgotten town nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains, a chilling legend haunted the locals. They spoke in hushed tones about the abandoned mansion that sat atop a hill, a place where eerie music played only on moonless nights. The mansion, known as the Harmonium House, was said to be cursed, and its story was known as the Unearthly Symphony. Alex, a music journalist with a fascination for the supernatural, had heard of this legend for years. He was drawn to the mystery of the mansion, its history intertwined with a cursed violin, and the eerie melodies that emanated from within. One gloomy autumn evening, he arrived in the town, determined to unravel the truth behind the Harmonium House. Locals were reluctant to speak about it, and many refused to even acknowledge its existence. But Alex's curiosity was unyielding. Over the following days, he researched the mansion's history, diving deep into old archives and speaking with those who dared to share their stories. The mansion had once belonged to a reclusive and talented musician named Victor Stahl, who was known for his virtuosity on the violin. But his genius was said to come at a sinister price. Victor had crafted a violin from dark wood and strings made from the hair of his deceased wife, an instrument he believed to be his muse. The violin was said to have a malevolent spirit, and it was rumored to have driven Victor to madness. On moonless nights, the violin played itself, emitting hauntingly beautiful yet unnerving melodies. One night, the music became so unbearable that Victor, in a fit of despair, shattered the violin and threw it into the woods. The mansion fell into disrepair, and Victor disappeared, never to be seen again. Alex decided to spend a night in the dilapidated Harmonium House, determined to document the supernatural events. As he settled in, the air grew colder, and he heard faint whispers in the wind. A bone-chilling, moonless night descended, and the mansion seemed to come alive with an unearthly energy. The wooden floorboards creaked beneath his feet, and the walls whispered secrets long buried. In the dim light of his lantern, he found the remnants of Victor's shattered violin, hidden in the corner of a decaying room. It was said that the curse of the violin still lingered. As the witching hour approached, Alex heard the faintest of melodies, a mournful tune that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the mansion. He followed the haunting music, and it led him to a locked room on the upper floor. The door creaked open with a ghostly sigh, revealing a chamber filled with darkness. In the center of the room stood a violin, perfectly intact, bathed in an eerie, ethereal light. Alex knew he had to play it, to unlock the mysteries of the unearthly symphony. As his fingers caressed the strings, the violin seemed to come to life, playing a haunting melody of despair and longing. The music filled the mansion, and Alex felt the weight of sorrow and torment, as if the spirits of Victor and his deceased wife were trapped within the instrument. With a deep sense of foreboding, he played on, his music mingling with the unearthly symphony. In that moment, he saw a ghostly figure, a woman in a tattered gown, standing beside him. She reached out to him with a spectral hand, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and longing. It was Victor's wife, the woman whose hair had been used to string the violin. With a final, sorrowful note, the music ceased, and the spirit of Victor's wife vanished. The room grew silent, and Alex was left alone in the darkness. The following day, he left the Harmonium House, forever changed by the experience. He had come face to face with the curse of the violin, the unearthly symphony, and the tormented spirits trapped within. His article shed light on the mansion's haunting history and the tragic tale of Victor and his cursed violin. The unearthly symphony became a legend known far and wide, a story of music, madness, and the enduring power of the supernatural. Alex's investigation had uncovered the dark secrets hidden within the Harmonium House, and it was a story that would haunt him for the rest of his days. Story 5. The Labyrinth of Echoes. In a city shrouded in mist and legend, there existed a forgotten underground labyrinth, hidden beneath the cobblestone streets. The locals rarely spoke of it, but they believed it to be cursed. The labyrinth was known as the Labyrinth of Echoes, and its story was a haunting enigma. Lucas, an intrepid historian and explorer, was drawn to the tales of this subterranean maze. Its existence was mostly relegated to the realm of urban legend, a sinister place where time stood still, and lost souls whispered secrets that only the bravest dared to uncover. Armed with a lantern and a journal, Lucas descended into the labyrinth's cryptic depths. He navigated through the dimly lit passageways, each step echoing through the stone walls. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone. As he ventured deeper into the labyrinth, he discovered peculiar inscriptions and symbols etched into the stone. They told the story of a forgotten civilization that had constructed the maze for reasons unknown, their secrets buried within the stone walls. As night fell, Lucas heard the faintest of echoes, the ghostly voices of those who had once traversed the labyrinth. Their whispers were fragmented, their words a cryptic puzzle, and he knew that he had to decipher the secrets they held. The labyrinth's pathways twisted and turned, leading Lucas to chambers adorned with relics of the past. He unearthed artifacts that hinted at the labyrinth's history, its purpose, and the civilization that had once thrived within its depths. As he ventured deeper, the whispers grew more intense, the voices carrying an air of desperation. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with energy, and Lucas could feel the presence of something ancient and malevolent. Then, in the heart of the labyrinth, he discovered a chamber unlike any other. It was adorned with an ornate mosaic that depicted a haunting tableau of the lost civilization's fall. In the center of the chamber, a stone pedestal held a peculiar amulet. As Lucas approached the amulet, he could hear the voices growing louder and more coherent, the lost souls imploring him to take it. With trembling hands, he reached out and lifted the amulet from its resting place. In that moment, the labyrinth seemed to come alive. The stone walls trembled, and a ghostly figure materialized before him. It was a spectral guardian, tasked with protecting the labyrinth's secrets. The guardian spoke, its voice a chorus of countless souls. It revealed the truth about the labyrinth's purpose. It was a repository of lost knowledge, a place where the memories and stories of the civilization's people were preserved for eternity. The amulet in Lucas's hands was the key to unlocking the secrets trapped within. As the Guardian's tale unfolded, Lucas realized that the labyrinth had existed as a sanctuary for the lost souls, preserving their memories and stories, even as their civilization had crumbled. The Guardian implored him to ensure that the knowledge was not lost to time, and that their stories would be told. With a sense of duty, Lucas vowed to share the stories and history of the labyrinth with the world. The Guardian, its duty fulfilled, faded into the stone walls, and the labyrinth grew still once more. Upon emerging from the underground maze, Lucas documented his journey, bringing to light the haunting tale of the labyrinth of echoes and the civilization that had sought to preserve its legacy. The story served as a reminder of the enduring power of history and the significance of preserving the voices of the past. The Labyrinth of Echoes became a legend in its own right, a testament to the importance of unraveling mysteries and preserving the stories of those who came before. Lucas's exploration had uncovered the labyrinth's secrets, but it was a story that would continue to echo through time. Story 6: The Cursed Carnival. In the heart of a desolate town stood an old and decrepit carnival that had been abandoned for decades. The townsfolk whispered stories of its sinister past, and they knew it as the Cursed Carnival. Legends told of strange occurrences, ghostly apparitions, and an ominous carousel that spun without anyone's touch. Sophie, an adventurous and daring photographer, had long been drawn to stories of the supernatural. She arrived in the town with her camera, determined to capture the eerie beauty of the Cursed Carnival and uncover the truth behind the legends. The carnival's rusty gates creaked open with an eerie groan as Sophie entered the desolate fairground. The air was heavy with the weight of time, and the sun cast long shadows over the forgotten rides and attractions. The once vibrant colors had faded, giving the carnival an otherworldly, almost ethereal appearance. As Sophie explored the grounds, she came across an old carousel. It was a chilling sight, for it spun slowly and soundlessly, despite the complete absence of wind or anyone to operate it. The horses' frozen expressions seemed to change, their eyes following her every move. She knew this was the heart of the legend. Setting up her camera, Sophie captured the carousel's spectral dance, the blurry images capturing its ethereal movement. The eerie melody of a long-forgotten carnival tune hung in the air, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of dread and fascination. Night fell, and Sophie decided to spend the night at the carnival, determined to witness the supernatural phenomena that had plagued the cursed carnival. She set up her camera in front of the carousel, and as the moon rose, the ghostly apparitions began to emerge. Specters of carnival-goers long past, dressed in vintage clothing, gathered around the carousel. Their laughter and joy were palpable, a stark contrast to the decrepit surroundings. It was as if time itself had unraveled, and the carnival had been brought back to life, if only for a fleeting moment. Sophie watched in awe and trepidation, capturing the incredible and eerie spectacle on film. The ghosts seemed oblivious to her presence, their celebrations a haunting reminder of the past. But as the night wore on, the atmosphere grew increasingly foreboding. The once cheerful ghosts began to take on sinister expressions, their laughter morphing into mournful cries. The carousel spun faster, and Sophie could feel a malevolent presence lurking. Suddenly, a spectral figure appeared at the center of the carousel. It was a sinister ringmaster, his top hat casting a shadow over his ghastly face. With a wave of his hand, the carousel spun even faster, and the ghosts cried out in anguish. Terrified, Sophie knew she had to escape the carnival's clutches. She grabbed her camera and sprinted through the eerie fairground, the ringmaster's laughter echoing behind her. The carnival's lights flickered and dimmed as she raced toward the rusty gates. With one final burst of energy, she burst through the gates and tumbled onto the town's cobblestone streets. The carnival vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the chilling memory of what she had witnessed. The photos Sophie had taken that night told the haunting tale of the cursed carnival, preserving the legend for all to see. Her experience served as a testament to the unexplained and the enduring mysteries of the supernatural. Sophie knew that the carnival's curse would linger in her memory, a story that would haunt her for the rest of her days. Story 7. The Enchanted Library. In a picturesque village nestled in the heart of the forest, there stood a library that held more than just books. It was known as the Enchanted Library, a place where tales and legends came to life. The library's story was a tale in itself, of ancient tomes, curious creatures, and the magic of storytelling. Eleanor, a young and passionate bibliophile, had heard whispers of the Enchanted Library from her grandmother. She was a storyteller and had regaled Eleanor with tales of books that whispered secrets and creatures that leaped from their pages. It was a place of wonder and mystery, and Eleanor was determined to discover its secrets. On a cool autumn afternoon, Eleanor ventured into the village and found the library, an unassuming building with ivy-clad walls and a creaky wooden door. As she stepped inside, the air was alive with the scent of old books and the murmur of voices that seemed to come from all directions. The library was filled with books of all shapes and sizes, each one seemingly imbued with an otherworldly energy. Eleanor approached a dusty old tome with a leather cover, its pages blank and inviting. She picked it up, and to her astonishment, words began to appear on the pages as if inked by an invisible hand. The words told a story of a whimsical forest, of creatures that danced under the moonlight, and of a hidden treasure waiting to be found. Eleanor was transported into the world of the story, her surroundings changing to match the tale. She explored the enchanted forest, meeting the characters from the story who guided her on her quest. Along the way, she encountered talking animals, mischievous fairies, and even a wise old tree that shared ancient wisdom. The forest was both enchanting and treacherous, and Eleanor's journey was fraught with challenges. As she delved deeper into the story, she found herself on a quest to uncover the hidden treasure, an artifact that was said to possess the power of storytelling. The forest magic pulsed around her, and she could feel the words of the tale resonating in her very being. With each challenge she overcame, Eleanor felt the magic of the enchanted library infusing her with a deeper connection to the stories. She realized that the library was a place where tales were not just told but lived, where the power of storytelling transcended the pages of the books. Finally, she reached the heart of the forest, where the hidden treasure awaited. It was a shimmering quill and a blank book, said to hold the power to create and shape stories with a single stroke. Eleanor grasped the quill, and as she wrote the final words of the story, the world around her began to dissolve. She returned to the library, the tome now closed in her hands. The enchanted forest had vanished, and she was once again surrounded by the shelves of books. The library seemed to breathe a sigh of contentment, as if acknowledging Eleanor's discovery. With the enchanted quill and book, Eleanor became the library's storyteller, a guardian of the magic within its walls. She could now bring stories to life, crafting tales that would transport readers to distant realms and allow them to experience the enchantment of the enchanted library. Eleanor's adventures in the library became legendary in the village, and it was said that she could spin tales that held the power to enchant and inspire. The enchanted library continued to be a place of wonder and magic, where stories came to life, and where the power of storytelling was cherished for generations to come. Story 8. The Eclipsed Village. In a remote corner of the world, there lay a village shrouded in perpetual darkness. This place was known as the Eclipsed Village, a settlement cursed to be forever hidden in the shadow of an ancient and colossal stone arch that loomed over it. The village's tale was one of mystery, curses, and an unending quest for light. Oliver, an intrepid adventurer and seeker of the unknown, had heard whispers of the Eclipsed Village from fellow travelers during his journeys. Their stories told of a village that had never seen the light of day, where the sun and moon were forever obscured by the great stone arch. Intrigued, Oliver embarked on a quest to unveil the truth behind this enigmatic place. Upon arriving at the village, he found the atmosphere oppressive, and the villagers wore heavy cloaks and huddled around dim lanterns. They moved through life with a quiet resignation, knowing that the sun would never grace their land. The villagers, however, spoke of a prophecy, one that foretold a way to break the curse and bring light back to the Eclipsed Village. It spoke of a hidden temple nestled high in the mountains, where an ancient relic known as the Sunstone held the power to banish the shadow that had plagued them for centuries. With determination in his heart, Oliver set out on the treacherous journey to the mountains, scaling the rugged peaks and traversing deep chasms. After days of arduous travel, he finally reached the temple, hidden amidst dense foliage. The temple was adorned with intricate carvings and illuminated by a soft, ethereal glow. In its heart lay the Sunstone, a radiant gem that pulsed with an inner light. It was said to hold the power to reveal the sun once more to the Eclipsed Village. With the Sunstone in hand, Oliver descended from the mountain, but the journey back was fraught with perils. A fierce storm broke out, and he was pursued by shadowy entities that sought to steal the precious relic. As the darkness closed in around him, Oliver clung to the hope that the Sunstone's power would save him. Upon his return to the Eclipsed Village, the villagers gathered around him, their eyes filled with both hope and skepticism. With a deep breath, Oliver raised the Sunstone high above his head, and a blinding light erupted from the gem. The shadow of the stone arch began to recede, revealing the sky for the first time in centuries. The villagers watched in awe and wonder as the sun's rays finally graced their land. Tears of joy streamed down their faces, and the Eclipsed Village was bathed in light. The curse had been broken, and the prophecy had come true. Oliver, having fulfilled his quest, left the village knowing that he had brought light back to a place that had long dwelled in darkness. The Eclipsed Village became a beacon of hope and inspiration for the world, a testament to the power of determination and the unending quest for light in the face of adversity. The Eclipsed village continued to thrive, and its tale was shared across the land, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the light of hope could shine through, dispelling the shadows that had plagued the heart and soul. Story 9. The Whispering Grove. Deep within a secluded forest, there existed a grove unlike any other. It was known as the Whispering Grove, a place where ancient trees spoke in hushed tones, and secrets were shared with those who dared to listen. The grove's story was a tale of nature's mysteries, untold wisdom, and the connection between humans and the world around them. Lydia, a young botanist with an insatiable curiosity, had heard tales of the Whispering Grove from her grandmother. She was told of trees that whispered wisdom, leaves that sang with the wind, and the grove's uncanny ability to reveal the deepest desires of those who ventured within. With a passion for plants and the mysteries of nature, Lydia set out to explore the grove for herself. As Lydia entered the dense forest, the air grew heavy with the scent of earth and foliage. She followed an ancient trail deep into the heart of the woods, guided by the whispers of the trees. It was as if the very forest itself was guiding her toward the Whispering Grove. Upon reaching the grove, Lydia was greeted by a symphony of whispers. The ancient trees, with gnarled branches and moss-covered trunks, seemed to beckon her closer. As she approached, she noticed that the leaves rustled and swayed in harmony with her presence, as if they were sharing their secrets with her. Lydia moved from tree to tree, her fingers tracing the bark as she listened to the soft murmurs. The whispers spoke of the natural world's wonders, the interconnectedness of all living things, and the importance of preserving the environment. The grove was a place of wisdom, and Lydia absorbed its teachings with a sense of reverence. As the day faded into night, the grove's enchantment deepened. The moonlight filtered through the dense canopy, casting an otherworldly glow on the ancient trees. It was then that Lydia heard the grove's most profound secret, the tale of a rare and mystical flower that bloomed only once in a lifetime. Driven by the grove's whispers, Lydia embarked on a quest to find this mythical flower. She followed a trail illuminated by the wisdom she had gained from the grove, braving the forest's hidden dangers and overcoming obstacles that tested her resolve. Her journey led her to a remote and untouched corner of the forest, where she finally found the elusive flower. It was a breathtaking sight, a rare bloom that radiated with an ethereal beauty and fragrance. Lydia returned to the Whispering Grove with the rare flower, its presence a symbol of her connection with nature and the wisdom she had gained. The grove seemed to acknowledge her achievement, and its whispers became even more poignant, sharing the secrets of life, growth, and the ever-revolving cycles of nature. Lydia, forever changed by her experience, continued to visit the Whispering Grove, sharing its wisdom and teachings with others. The grove's story became a legend in the region, a testament to the profound connection between humans and the natural world. The Whispering Grove remained a place of wonder and contemplation, where those who ventured within could hear the whispers of ancient trees, find solace in the wisdom of nature, and come to appreciate the fragile balance of life on Earth. Story 10. The Timeless Clockmaker. In the heart of a charming old-world town, there lived a reclusive and mysterious clockmaker known as the Timeless Clockmaker. His legend was one of extraordinary craftsmanship, and a clock shop where time itself seemed to stand still. The story of the Timeless Clockmaker was a tale of intricate clocks, secrets, and the transcendence of time. Sophia, a young historian with a fascination for the unusual and the arcane, had long been drawn to the tales of the Timeless Clockmaker. Stories of his shop, tucked away in a narrow alley, spoke of clocks that could stop time and wondrous timepieces that held the secrets of those who possessed them. Driven by her insatiable curiosity, Sophia set out to uncover the truth behind the mysterious clockmaker. Upon her arrival in the town, Sophia navigated its cobblestone streets and winding alleyways until she reached the unassuming clock shop. The doorbell chimed softly as she entered, and the room was filled with an exquisite collection of clocks, each one a masterpiece of craftsmanship. The clockmaker himself, An elderly man with wise and enigmatic eyes greeted her with a knowing smile. He seemed to hold the weight of the ages in his gaze and an air of timelessness about him. As they spoke, he shared tales of the clocks that filled his shop, each with a unique story to tell. One clock, an ornate pendulum timepiece, held the ability to pause time for its possessor. Another, a whimsical cuckoo clock, revealed glimpses of the future to those who dared to ask. The shop seemed to exist in a realm where the boundaries of time were blurred, and clocks held the power to transcend it. Sophia was captivated by the stories and the intricate workmanship of the clocks. The clockmaker revealed that each timepiece held the essence of its creator, imbuing it with a unique connection to the past, present, and future. The clocks were not merely objects, they were vessels of human experience. As she spent more time with the timeless clockmaker, Sophia discovered that he himself was an enigma. He spoke of memories from eras long past, as if he had lived through them. Rumors in the town suggested that he possessed the secret to eternal life, a gift granted by the clocks he created. One evening, as Sophia marveled at a remarkable timepiece, the clockmaker confided in her. He spoke of a fateful event in his youth, a moment when time itself had halted, and he had glimpsed the very fabric of the universe. Since that day, he had been bound to the clocks he created, each one a reflection of his own existence. With a heavy heart, the timeless clockmaker revealed that the clocks held the key to his own immortality, but at a cost. He had sacrificed his own ability to experience time like a normal human. He'd become a guardian of moments, a custodian of stories, and a creator of timepieces that could touch the lives of those who possessed them. As Sophia left the shop, she couldn't help but be struck by the profundity of the timeless clockmaker's existence. His legend was one of both wonder and sacrifice, a testament to the extraordinary connection between time, memory, and the human spirit. The story of the timeless clockmaker continued to captivate the town, a reminder that the passing of time was both a gift and a burden. His clocks held the power to touch the lives of those who sought them, and his legacy remained etched in the hearts of all who entered his shop. Story 11. The Shadowed Mirror. In a sleepy, forgotten town there hung a mirror unlike any other. It was known as the Shadowed Mirror, a mysterious-looking glass that revealed glimpses of another world, a world of shadows, secrets, and the duality of existence. The tale of the Shadowed Mirror was one of intrigue, reflection, and the boundaries between reality and the unknown. Emily, a young artist with a fascination for the uncanny, had heard tales of the Shadowed Mirror from her grandmother. Stories told of a mirror that could reveal hidden truths, show the darker aspects of one's self, and unveil the secrets of the world beyond. Intrigued by the prospect of exploring the mirror's mysteries, Emily set out to find it. Upon arriving in the town, Emily's search led her to a dusty and antiquated shop. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman with knowing eyes, guided her to a corner of the store where the shadowed mirror stood. It was an ornate, full-length mirror with an intricately carved frame, its surface polished to an eerie obsidian-like sheen. The shopkeeper revealed that the mirror had a unique ability. It could reveal a person's innermost fears and desires, exposing the shadow self that dwelled within. It was said to offer a glimpse into the darker aspects of the soul, a reflection that could be both alluring and terrifying. Intrigued and determined to explore this extraordinary mirror, Emily gazed into its surface. At first she saw her own reflection, but gradually the image transformed. Her shadow self emerged from within the mirror, a hauntingly beautiful and enigmatic figure that seemed to embody her hidden desires and fears. The shadow self beckoned to Emily, inviting her into the mirror's realm. Without hesitation, she stepped through the looking glass and found herself in a world of shadows and secrets. It was a place where light and darkness coexisted, a realm where emotions and secrets took tangible form. Emily's journey within the shadowed mirror was a surreal and introspective exploration of her own psyche. She confronted her deepest fears and desires, grappled with the dualities of her nature, and witnessed the secrets of others who had ventured into the mirror. As her time within the mirror unfolded, Emily realized that the shadowed mirror held the power to reveal the intricacies of the human spirit, a place where inner conflicts and hidden truths were laid bare. It was a realm of self-discovery and enlightenment. When she finally emerged from the mirror, Emily felt changed and enlightened. The shopkeeper, with a knowing smile, revealed that the shadowed mirror had shared its secrets with her, and she had become a guardian of its enigmatic power. Emily's artistry took on new dimensions, and her creations were imbued with the depth of her experience. The tale of her journey through the shadowed mirror became a legend in the town, a reminder that the exploration of one's inner self could be both revealing and transformative. The shadowed mirror continued to captivate the imagination of those who dared to peer into its depths, offering a reflection of the shadow self and a reminder that within the darkness there was often profound wisdom and beauty.